about the pressure. It's about the raw.
Hey there, just a quick message ahead of this episode to say we hope you like the rebrand, which includes a new website, rawuk.com. That's the URL. On there you can listen to and watch all our previous content. You can get extra content. You can also buy our first ever Raw merchandise and even sign up to become a Raw member, which will keep us going and keep you at the heart of this exciting journey, earning perks in return. We need your support, so please do check us out at rawuk.com and remember to like, comment and subscribe to everything we do on all our channels. And of course, make sure you tell all your pals. But most of all, enjoy this latest episode. Cheers. So you're listening to Raw, the 90s Rave podcast with me, Tom Latcham and Ian Hicxy. I'm pleased to say we're going to sort of bring it up into the modern age, but also we ask loads of questions. And if anyone wants to get in touch with questions, it's hello@rawuk.com for future episodes. So we're going to ask some of those questions. And Ian, given your role as one of the most influential figures in hardcore, post-1995, your involvement with so much the scene, we can't not talk about. A lot of people have got in touch with some of the perceived difficulties, perhaps, that have caused discussion and conversation on this podcast since we launched. Numerous people have said in our past interviews and elsewhere, including in comments to our content, they've suggested that hardcore was a little bit of a closed shop. And you stated in an earlier interview that you hoped Rave Baby and HTID would be a showcase and a platform for new talent, and you named several artists, but they never came to prominence as you predicted. Why is it that you think only Gamma, Recon, and of course the late Squaddy made it in terms of their rise to prominence?
Again, I think it's just generally you can give people platforms, and it's down to the audience. You know, if someone likes something, you can't force someone to like something. I'll go on. A story, Recon. What he'd been making bits and bobs, and he was obviously at the time we got to know him because he'd done Pretty Green Eyes for us with Ultra Beat, and got to know him. He wanted to do some hardcore because he'd always been into hardcore. I was like, mate, go for it. We booked him. Obviously, I was like, mate, I'm dropping you. Kick-off set. It's your first set. Off we go. After his set, a mate made a proper beeline for me. Came up to me going, "You've only fucking book him because he's Ultra Beat. He did Pretty Green Eyes. It's fucking well out of order, Hixxy. There's loads of other people out there you should book. This, that, really going into one." I went, "Look, all right." I said, "Let me stop you." I said, "Get the tape pack, mate." I said, "I want you to listen to that tape pack." And I said, every tune, bar about 2 or 3, was written, produced or remixed. And he was like, anyway, he walked off. And I don't like confrontation, so my head was going about that fucking the most of the rest of the night. It was a bit like, oh, fucking hell. Anyway, it wasn't the next one. It was a few after. This fella came out of blue. I'd sort of forgotten about it. And he was like, mate. He's like, oh my God. You and Stylesy and Sai and that, you've all been playing these tunes for about a year. I can't believe it. What? They're all recons. And I was like, yeah, they're all recons. I was like, mate, I don't book mates. I book things that I think are going to work. I'm not here to book mates. And this is the thing. I know some people accuse other promoters of doing it. They don't book their mates. They predominantly want a successful night. If that so happens that they are mates with the people they're booking, then from my point of view, that's how it sort of goes. And, again, it goes back to, I see people sort of say, oh, I didn't break through because I didn't get the set times. Well, I used to, like I said, I used to do 9 till 10s. I used to do back rooms everywhere. Luckily for me, that I must offer something that has progressed me, and it's not, no one picked me back in when I was 16, go, right, we're going to make you have this as your career for the rest of your life. This is, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. People gave me platforms. I'm massively grateful for Ramos, Supreme, Chris Fusion, all them people that gave me that first platform. I'm massively grateful for, but I took that platform and then went there. And that's the same as, everyone starts out somewhere.
Is there not an argument? And bear with me on this one. So back in the mid-90s, there was incredibly varied rave music. We just had one scene, right? And it was everyone could play different things in one genre, and people would just go to that rave. So therefore, if you played something a bit different, you could stand yourself out in that single rave scene. Whereas fast forwards to 2005, whatever, whenever that was, the height of your Raver Baby, when you were putting on a lot of your events, you knew what was successful was Raver Baby, right? Because you've literally proven it in the events, because it's full and everyone's running from the door into the front. So you're like, oh, well, this works. Raver Baby works. People like this sound, this vibe, the Clubland Extreme, etc., etc. So therefore, because it works, you then book those sort of artists who play that sort of music. And then, for instance, and a lot of the freeform artists have said this as a sort of, and I tend to agree on this. I really love freeform, really like it. I thought it's fantastic. I think I didn't like where it went in the end, but that's sort of by the by. But at that period between 98, 2003, 2004, it was fantastic. But it did feel a little bit like it was sort of just shoved to the early sets, to the second rooms, etc. And I can understand if that were the case, because you know that what's working is that. But unfortunately, what then happens is that there's the accusation among people is that it becomes slightly stale.
No, but again, all I say to people is look back at the flyers, look back at the times. And again, all I say is yin and yang. What is my yin to my yang work together? If I just booked everything that I thought was, let's say for this argument, Raver Baby, the night would just start falling flat, because you can't have it all on one trajectory the whole time. And I know this argument's come up. Again, I've had not confrontations, but I've had people accusing us of turning mics down, changing light patterns, it's never happened. The only time at Air, I'll use Air as an example. One, we never got near them amps. We weren't allowed to touch them. The guy in the corner was the sound guy, didn't even really ever know their names. I just always sort of said hello, told them they knew nothing prior to this anthem, this kickoff tune. The lights got, and even the DJs that got booked, it was like, look, no lights are coming on, no MCs are coming on. It's all singing and dancing from this point on. And whilst, yes, the laser went on and off throughout the night, it was never dictated to. It was the sound guy's choice to do what he wanted when he was sat there. And, as far as turning mics down, anyone who is an MC will tell you that some MCs can project their voice louder through that mic at a certain level than another MC. That's why MCs are forever. You see them changing the mic when they come on. That was nothing to do with, it does annoy me that people think that I'll deliberately try and fuck my night up, or I'll try and make something not good in my night. Are you mental? All I would honestly do was, it was yin and yang. So if you was into harder, faster stuff, that would come on after a Raver Baby DJ. Or if you was into something a little bit more freeformy, that would come on after a Raver Baby DJ. So you've got your yin and the yangs. So it's different. So my yin, let's say Raver Baby, well, someone else's yin is freeform. So their yang would be Raver Baby, and my freeform stuff was the stuff that, and it isn't that I don't like freeform, it's just that it's not me personally, but I know how important it was and how good it was, and I could hear the difference is I can hear a good freeform tune and say, mate, that is going to absolutely smash that's for, and I can hear a crap form tune, same as I can hear a good UK hardcore, whatever, whether it be from whatever artist, and a shit one, and that's the same. And some people did, I know back then, there was this whole fucking, it's controlled. Mate, I had no saying what Scott Brown was doing. I had no saying what Joey Wright was doing. I had no saying how Hardcore Heaven. I had no say or wording at the time when John Seduction had Uproar. No other DJs, Dougal and Gamma, they had their own label. I had no say in it. I couldn't say, right, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. It was just that,
but you're all pals, aren't you? So you're all influencing each other.
That's right. Again, I understand that, but also then say certain other groups of MCs and DJs, they're all pals. Do you know what I mean? But I never not booked people. I wouldn't put someone on at a certain time. The only thing, and again, I do because I know this has come up, and I wouldn't say I regret it, but it is something that has then become a problem. We did do the tag teams where certain DJs and MCs worked. It was happening a little bit before HTID, and there is nothing better for me than watching, DJs, like at the moment, like watching, say, Club Filler and Storm together is mind-blowing. They work so well together. Watching WizKid and Darren Styles together, mind-blowing. They work so well together. Brisk and Watsy, another example of DJ and MC that get each other. They like their music. And so at the time, it worked, you know, and I did try and vary a little bit, but then over the years, it's got so formulated that has to happen, that it's not different. And then the other thing on top, which was so difficult as a DJ point of view, then being the promoter doing the lineups, I had some DJs telling me they didn't want some MCs, and some MCs saying they didn't want certain DJs. So it then becomes massively difficult. I'm not going to stir the pot and, you know, start ringing around people and going, they don't want to work with you. They don't want to work with you. It was just a case of, well, I've sort of got to make my lineup also fit in with not stirring the pot and making it all fucking difficult, because there's nothing worse than having an artist turn up at an event, and this is me talking from my side as a DJ, doing something I don't want to do. You know, so I knew I didn't want to book a DJ knowing that they'd have an MC, and I didn't want to book an MC knowing that the set that they were going to do, they weren't going to put their all into it, or you know, they felt like, oh, do you know what, this ain't for me. So it was a little bit of everything, and it's like I said, I wouldn't say I regret it, because the points that I've stood back at raves throughout years is DJA and MCB working it how they work it, and whilst it would be nice to do that mix up again, that's the bit I regret, that it doesn't seem to happen enough now. It's very set. It goes with that MC.
What about this for a potential regret? So if you look at the lineups in around about 97, 98, 99, a lot of those very same DJs were still on the lineups in 2005, and there was only 2 or 3 really that broke through genuinely. And you look at drum and bass, they've got new names all the time, and they seem to me to be a scene. And I can't say that I'm the biggest expert in upfront drum and bass, but I look at flyers and I see new names all the time, and it makes me think, like, that's how you stay fresh. Do you regret that happened, even if you did, even if not necessarily it's your decision, but you were putting on events at that end? But do you regret that as a thing? And do you think that did sort of play into the reasons of why hardcore had points of staleness?
Yeah. I honestly, for me, honestly, as a promoter, I think we really tried to vary our lineups and drop people in middle of the nights, giving them, you know, all sorts. I genuinely believe we did it. I kept my ear to the ground 100%. Mark did, and then when Steve came on board at the later dates, you know, I think their finger were fully on the pulse of trying to always elevate newer artists, newer producers. And I haven't got the answer of why some people broke through and some people didn't. I can only utilize it as the scene didn't produce or hasn't inspired as many producers I'd love it to have done. And you know, you've got your club fillers, and like you said, Squaddy and Recon, Gamma when he broke through, from the you know, the side of the stuff I love, and then the free formation stuff. You know, they had a brilliant network of people coming through, and again, we tried to book as many of their different artists as well. We wasn't like, oh, we should really book them. You know, they sent me something that made me go, perfect. That's bloody brilliant. I like it. They're making stuff. They got releases on the label. This is all great. And whilst I get it, some people argue, oh, it's an old boys club. I don't think there's no club about it. If someone doesn't like me as a DJ, when I DJ, they'd walk off the dance floor. You know, and that's the thing. I'd see it with, you know, even if you use for example, he's been around longer than me. When him and Lively are DJing, they wreck the bloody place. You know, it's like you see people that weren't old enough, probably, or even maybe sometimes not even bloody born. Unfortunately, now it does my nutting, but they probably weren't born when Vibes and Lively started. You know, but now they're stood there raving to him, and I think that's it. It's you know, there is I don't know where you just describe it, but there is a selection process, I suppose, of majority within that sort of scene or that nightclub would go, well, this set's, you know, making me stay here. Whereas, I'm just going to go for a little stroll. And I've had sets where I'm stood there thinking, fuck, you know, you're throwing everything at them, and you're just seeing them like, and then you walk away and think, shit, is this sort of it? You know, is that it? And you know, and I've said I will forever DJ if people want me. Do you know what I mean? Or if I fall out of love with it. You know, I don't I don't necessarily think I'll do it forever. But whilst I love it, and I mean love it, because that's the other thing people think, oh, you just do it, you know, oh fucking this, that, and the other. No. You've got to love this scene, because it certainly ain't what it used to be, sort of, you know, it isn't. It's had its difficulties, it's had its highs and its bloody lows, and sometimes it's not easy, but I bloody love it.
Well, I mean, we can tell that it comes out of your every pore. One of the other things that people say, and he's not here to defend himself on this, so I'm going to ask you the question and you can answer it, is that, for instance, Storm, MC Storm, big pull, huge pull, quite clearly a massive pull. People go to raves to see MC Storm. That is obvious, right? So therefore, as a promoter, you want him on your bill, right? You want him top of your bill, and you did have him top of your bill a lot. Now, a lot of people we've spoke to, and some of them are artists, have said that if Storm didn't want someone on a bill, for whatever reason that might be, you know, it could be to ensure that he's the big name. And, you know, we get that. We all want to stay at the top. We all want to be the best. We all want to get the top pay. We want to be the top bill. But he would say, well, if you book him, or if you book him at that place, I'm not going to do it. And you're like, well, I've got a decision to make here, because I need Storm, because Storm's the big pull. Is there any truth in that?
Well, he's not here to answer it himself, but
you would have had the conversations. You would have had the conversations.
He has never, ever said to me, "Don't book someone." The only time he's said anything is to book someone. You know, there's bits and bobs I know that have gone on that are nothing to do with me. But all I can say is, again, the rave scene goes on, and I know other artists might feel like that, but to me directly, it's not happened. And some people might go, oh, well, I heard this had happened. No, not at all. Never, ever. He's pushed through. There's a few MCs that he was like, listen, this. He's done the same with DJs. He's done it recently. He wrote me out about, there was a couple of the streams that were going on. You know, I generally not even heard of them. And he was like, mate, just go and check them out. Seriously, check them out. And it was like, okay, yeah, cool.
There's another question that's coming from a lot of listeners, and so I have to ask it, and I expect that you probably knew it was coming. It's a very sensitive topic. It involves a major falling out between Psy and Storm, but it was wider than that, and it caused a lot of rancor in the scene. And around about 2012, and it sort of centered around allegations, criminal allegations of Psy, and we don't need to go into those. But I'm interested to get your take, and so is our listeners, to get your take on how you felt to be in such a difficult situation.
Yeah, it's very difficult to talk about. It involves someone I cared about a hell of a lot, and a lot of other people were getting caught in the crossfire. There was all sorts of different allegations being made. It was just very difficult to deal with. It was a difficult time. I wanted the world to open up and swallow me up, if I'm really honest. It just was one of those. It was the lowest point of my career. You know, it split and divided a lot of friendships, a lot of partnerships. It just wasn't the greatest time. So whilst I know a lot of people would be interested, all I can say is it was the lowest point for me. I know other people, you know, it affected them differently as well. But for me, yeah, it's something I don't know where I wouldn't want to openly talk about it. Well, I don't talk about it at all, to be brutally honest, because it just sucked. You know, the whole situation, it left a lot of just division, and just, you know, I wish there was something I could offer that would make it a bit clearer for people, but I honestly don't have that clarity either. It just shit. That's all I can say. It was horrible. Yeah, I don't really, if you don't mind, I don't really want to sort of discuss it. It's not my place as well to sort of openly talk about others.
Fair enough. Look, I had to ask, and I hope you don't mind me asking.
No, not at all. Not at all. Obviously.
In terms of its impact upon the scene, I've got to say I'm not an expert in upfront UK hardcore, so you'll have to forgive me. Do you, as far as I can see, hardcore in an upfront way is struggling again? It's not in a good place. The numbers in the events aren't big, etc., etc. Was that part of the reason of that? Is that, or is there a wider reason than that?
No, I don't think so. I generally think it's like I said, it's fractured friendships. It generally, that's caused, problems, that unity, I suppose, that's there professionally on a friendship level. Musically, again, I just think it's going through that journey of, there's an evolution. It's funny because there's a bit of a BPM change with some artists at the moment that has made some people go, what do you mean? And some people hating the new direction and the new sound with some DJs and producers. But I suppose it's just that it's another evolutionary step. That me, I'm not making things deliberately different. I'm still sat in the studio making things I like. If I don't like it, you won't hear it.
Do you think that the genre can reach maybe not the heights it did in the 90s, because that was absolutely ginormous? I mean, 2000 in the mid 2000s is pretty big again, actually. So yeah, maybe. Do you think that the genre as is, or whatever you're doing, or whatever you're creating, or whatever direction you're going in, has the ability to reach those heights again?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. There's more. Again, there's more new producers. Whilst the age-old debate's there again about bookings and events, and they don't get a look in, or they don't get the platforms, but they're finding other avenues and other ways and other means to get their music out there. And there's more new music that I get my hands on now than ever before. I'm finding myself finding music, not getting it sent to me, going on SoundCloud, going on YouTube, and coming across people that have been around for a good couple of years that are making stuff now that I'm like, I can play this. I could definitely play this. This will fit in my set all day long. So I think it's a really exciting era or time again. It's like almost identical to the early breakbeat happy hardcore beginnings, because you got some people loving the breakbeat sound and some people loving and getting introduced to this new happy hardcore sound, and you got some that are like, that I hate, and some people saying that I don't get it, that's not right. So you've got that again. The only difference is there's some amazing producers and DJs that will cater for the older sound still, or they're still developing that sound into a ever-changing sound within that bubble, and I'm just hoping that it all comes back side by side sort of thing, where people are realizing that difference is there again. Well, this DJ's on, I don't really like him, but in that room, someone for me. Or you've got a raver that's just, wow, I like a bit of all sorts, throw whatever at me, let's see where we go. And I do believe it's got the potential to do that again. You've only got to look at the platforms that are happening around the world, in America, across Europe and Australia and Japan, where other artists that are really nothing to do with what I call as, say, the hardcore scene, but yet they're playing the music. They're finishing their sets with it, or they're just dropping it in randomly. So when you see the reaction to that in front of sometimes thousands of people, all I think is, brilliant. Okay, there you go. The music still makes people bounce up and down. We've just maybe lost them automatic platforms we had of inviting people to the scene and the club events. That's the difficult thing nowadays. It used to be tape packs, it used to be the flyers, it used to be everything. And some people always say, yeah, but it's all online now, it's all online, why aren't they? Or it's like, well, the attention span of someone clicking on something online, it must be about 5 seconds before they go nah. So it's so difficult to capture someone. It's helping now with the live streaming, I think, the podcast, the radio stations. There's a lot more happening where you will get a little bit more attention, someone's time attention, rather than just flicking through on YouTube or SoundCloud. If it's on like a radio station or something in their area, or it's a live stream and they're like, oh, it captures them And that I'm hoping will be the beginnings of them going, oh, I want more. I want more of this. Really do want more of this.
How much has what impact has lockdown had upon this new world, or the sort of new direction in which we're finding itself? Has it given people time, like yourself, producers, time to get in the studio and create something a bit different and new, and think about ways in which it can become bigger again? Has it given other producers time to come through? How will it look after we come out of this, do you think?
I think it'd be very similar. I mean, I can only talk for me. It's been great to, lockdown. It's been shit not doing your normal and going out to the clubs, but it's been great, I suppose, to spend more focused time on projects within the studio. It's hard because, I musically, you DJ it out and then you go, well, that bit needs to do this or that. Whereas no one's had that, so you're bouncing your tracks, you're doing backwards and forwards to people to listen to and go, yeah, I like that. Or no, I've changed this, which is different. It's definitely different. I think when it all comes back, I think the most exciting part, whilst I don't think it's going to be crazily different musically or artistically or promoters and things like that, I think that what's going to be exciting is it's almost going to be fresh for anyone going to a rave again. They're going to walk through them doors absolutely like, this is you know what I mean? So I think you've got an opportunity to just reignite their love, their passion, the promoter's passion, the DJ's passion, the MC's passion. Look, whilst it's all there, I'm not saying people have lost their passion, but I think it's that ideal opportunity. It's like that. Everyone says it's like a reset in life. Everyone, whatever it is, whether it's seeing your family, your friends, how you do things, it has been that reset. And that's the bit that I think excites me. I don't think it's going to be magically different. I just think it's giving people enough time away from something to just enjoy it. And I'm hoping.
And how have you found it? I imagine that the thrill of playing out is a big miss. Of course, financially, that's another issue as well. But as I understand it, you've invested quite well in the past. You still produce for other people, etc., etc. How have you coped with both not playing out in terms of the buzz and the finances?
To be honest, it's been a bit strange because leading up to lockdown, I was blurring the fact that I can't stand traveling, whether it be in a car. I've got to an age where I just generally don't like traveling. I really don't. And I think leading up to lockdown, I was almost blurred the two of the actual events and stuff. It was all becoming one. And I was thinking, oh, I'm not enjoying this as much. Oh, it's doing my nutting. What lockdown done made it clear that I definitely love the music. I definitely love DJing. I love everything about it still. I just really didn't like the traveling side. So it's made me definitely realise, right, remember to focus when you're driving 4 hours home at whatever time in the morning and feeling like absolute crap, knowing you got to get up with your lunatic kids and dogs in the morning. Just keep your head together because, I have got a job that, like I said, is bloody brilliant for it to do as a job. It is good. But I've struggled not DJing, weirdly on and off. It's, some points you're like, this is lovely, at the weekend, you're just chilled and doing whatever with your wife and your kids. That side of it, you always like, oh, this is great. I'm not missing it. But then you just have them moments where you'd see something online or, a live stream or something like that. And honestly, it would rip you to bits a little bit because you almost feel like, well, what am I doing? Do you know what I mean? It would almost question you, not your worth, but you'd miss it. Where I've done this since I was like a teenager, it is what is in you, and to all of a sudden not be able to do it. If you made the decision to retire, that's your choice. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we were all forced to just stop work, and a lot of the people that are around me have done this their whole lives. So on and off, even on phone calls with people, this, because your stomach would sort of go over because you sort of thinking, oh, what, and even, on and off when the Prime Minister has announced certain things, you get all excited because you think, oh, okay, well, in my head, it's not going to, this was right back at the beginning, it's not going to open up for a couple of months, but he's just said this, so maybe. And then you'd get the shit news of it definitely ain't going to open up again, and it would just make you miserable.
So how did you feel when Rishi Sunak said that you weren't viable?
Yeah, again, that you just I'm not I just think it affected a lot of people that they just didn't think it through. They didn't realise, again, that, like I said, the impact that it would have on some people financially. Even just saying, well, your industry's shut and we ain't even going to talk about it. I think if they'd at least tried to speak about things logically, that if they're going to say, well, this can open up, but that can't because of this reason, you'd think about it. But they're opening up things for me. I look at it and I think, well, along the way, you've let this happen, but you won't let that happen. But the two really are the similar. You've got the same amount of sort of people breathing the same sort of air and being in contact with people. You're not making sense. But with the whole nightclub industry, they've just not even really talked about it. And it's affected, not so much like, well, it has affected DJs and MCs and artists, but it's the people behind the scenes that, again, it's like, it's all they've known. It's all they've known. And I know some support packages have been in there and furlough and all that sort of stuff is there. But some people fell between the gaps so much with it, and seeing, just nightclubs that I think probably might not open again. That's always been an absolute killer. When you see a venue go that was massively iconic for you, or even if it's one that you've not played of, but that of its existence, they've gone amongst our years as it is, let alone what might happen in the next 3 to 6 months. Some of these venues might not be able to open again, and that's when you just think, well, they're ripping the soul out of, some university towns. I always have this argument about Portsmouth a little bit. We've got a massive university town. They're desperate to get people to come to Portsmouth to go to university, yet the nightlife, sometimes you just think, what are you doing? What do you think? People are going to come into university. They're going to want a nightlife that travels past 2 o'clock sometimes, but yet they won't do it all the time. Or, that you hear of something happening, but then you hear, whether it's true or not, but you hear that the councillor sort of saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And you just think, well, they're going to piss off to another town that is letting a nightlife happen. You know what I mean? And I think it's all that.
Governments, local and national, particularly when they're Tory, don't tend to value nightlife, I don't think. And we've seen that in real stark terms in the last year, really. We really hope you're enjoying yet another one of Raw's in-depth interviews about the rave scene, which we are proud to say are now all curated into the British Library Sound Archive. All of us here at Raw HQ love how much you love what we do, and your generous one-off donations have been a huge help in covering our initial costs. But we're now a team of 5, putting in a combined 80 hours a week for no wages, with big plans to expand further, and so our costs are going up. As such, we could really use your help to keep Raw growing and developing, as you've seen us do since our launch in July 2020. First up, go and check out our brand new website. It's rawuk.com, where you can find loads of cool extra content, and you can grab Raw's first ever range of merchandise. That's rawuk.com for our new flashy website. We've also launched a new membership scheme where you can support us financially to create more content on an ongoing basis for less than the price of an oat milk cappuccino, plus you get great perks in return. Head to patreon.com/rawukpods. That's patreon.com/rawukpods to see exactly what's on offer. You can also join our YouTube membership, which is basically the same. Or if you're not asked about a membership, but you'd like to support us with a few quid as a one-off or a repeat donation, then head to our website and click the PayPal link. A reminder of that new website URL, yet again, rawuk.com. Big love and respect to you all. Please keep supporting us. Hope you enjoy the rest of the act.
On Friday the 20th of August 2021, a new event, Return to Source, celebrating 90s rave, hardcore, jungle, happy hardcore, drum and bass and techno, touches down at Suki 10C in Digbeth, Birmingham. We have Fusion South Coast legend DJ Druid, Quest and Fibre Optics DJ Fallout, the Uprising Northern legend that is DJ Paulo, and London Town's final trickster playing his first happy hardcore set in over 18 years. Tickets are priced at only £14. Just search Facebook and Eventbrite for Return to Source Rave.
Just before we wrap up, you have, though, been keeping yourself busy, of course. You are producing in the studio for yourself, for other people. You recently started a Bonkers show with Sharky and Scott Brown. Great to have Sharky back, by the way. Fantastic. On Beat 106 in Scotland. He's the old Sharky. He's buzzing. We've got him back. It's fantastic to see. It must be fantastic to get the band back together.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, actually. It has been brilliant. I knew a little while ago with John wanting to just venture out of where he's been and just start chatting to people. This was prior to the Bonkers stuff, and hearing someone at their lowest and then hearing someone so different and back to, again, probably pre 96 time, where he is just on fire. He really is, and he is such a modern day, well, back then an influencer, and I know people that's a new word, but he is. And when it comes to his passion of his flavor of music, it's so important and it's missed, and that's why, again, I say it so much. I must piss some people off when I talk to him about it, but I use the word yin and yang so much because he is that yin to someone or yang to someone that whilst they might not, it might be their favourite, but it might not be their favourite. However, they might still stand there and go, well, yep, I'm going to have a little boogie to this for something different tonight, or I'm going to listen to this. It's not my absolute favourite, but this is good music. And vice versa. Some people be like, this is the bollocks, this is my favourite. Oh my God. And hearing him talk about what he wants to do and how he wants to progress back into doing what he did is it's been brilliant. It has been brilliant. Over the years, me and John, I wouldn't say we clash, it's the wrong word. We've always been friends, but we have massively different views on music. We've always have, but that's a good thing. And that is so important. And I don't expect people to love everything I do. If Sharky doesn't like something me, it doesn't mean I'm not going to be his friend. I get it. If someone says to me, mate, it's not for me, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Then I sod you. I need, I need that sort of like yes and no from people, because I did that. That's it. Even stuff I make, I don't love it all. I'm like, so I get that. And like I said, over the years, we've clashed, not horribly, but we clash on ideas, especially when it comes to Bonkers. You know what I mean? We really did, have moments where we were like just on different pages. But what was good was that eventually we sort of came together, got the ideas together, and it worked. There was something there that definitely worked. And then the 106, Beat 106 came about through James, who was one of the originals from React. And he got hold of us and sort of said, well, there's this radio show that we could do. What do you think? And I was just like, I'm all over it. I think for me, again, it comes back to the bloody yin and yang, but how you could have me one week, John one week, Scott Brown one week. Hopefully Dougal's going to dive in on and off, doing things. He's quite busy with some bits and bobs at the moment. I won't go into, but that again, you're giving the audience all different sort of takes on music that hopefully they're going to sit back and be like, "Wow, this is bloody brilliant." And having John,
go on, sorry, go.
Well, John's doing the first hour every week, and again, whilst I might dive in and do little bits here and there, I'm not set up to do that weekly at the moment, to be honest. But he is absolutely perfect. And the plans he's got to interview all the different artists and venturing through. After the first show, James Horrocks rung me. He's like, the response has been brilliant. Everyone's buzzing. And I just said, this is the mad thing. The amount of different music from different eras, different sounds, different styles now is staggering. So yeah, I think John doing this, we've sort of just labelled it like a more of a magazine-y type bit at the beginning. Again, he's just perfect because he's just all into it. He's a
tour de force, full of energy, isn't he? He still is, even though he's had such a tough few years with no energy. He still retains his soul, and he's and just talking to him. I spent half an hour on the phone to him the other day, and it was just the geezer he's just passionate about his music, loves it, absolutely loves it, and it's great to have him back. Ian, it's been an absolute joy talking to you. Actually, before I go, does this then lead to the relaunch of Bonkers?
Possibly, yeah.
Yay!
It's something that to be honest, to be really honest, I've spoken to James on and off throughout the years. That I've had a few ideas with it. The difficulty is, and this is the reality, is when it comes back, it is going to be different. So I know some people would be very like, because I could do an old school mix of Bonkers. And whilst that would please some people, it'd be like, yeah, and Sharky could, and Dougal could, and Scott Brown could, but all that stuff's already out there. So if I'm going to do something, a few people asked, are you going to play old stuff on the Bonkers show? And I was like, well, no, I'm going to just venture back over the last couple of years, because I will do some old school mixes, but there's been so much of that what's the point? What is the point? We're letting John sort of focus on that on and off playing the older bits. But with the album, you are going to piss off people that are just in love with the brand, because it isn't going to sound probably like they'd like it to in their head. I know it 100%. Whether it be my mix,
you can never please all the people all the time.
John's mix would be different to what people imagine. Scott Brown's would, and Dougal's would, because we're all from different eras of, where we're at. So someone who was Bonkers 1 fans definitely ain't going to like my mix, because it ain't going to be nothing like Bonkers 1 if we do get this sort of concept going. Over the years I've spoke to James. One of the things that sort of stopped it was John not possibly being involved at the time, whereas now that's sort of done for me. So I sort of said to James, well, we can. John's ready and raring to go, so there's nothing actually stopping us now doing couple of concept ideas with the brand and the albums, hopefully.
And there's so much good old school sounding music being made that actually I think it's fine to populate an album with that stuff. Whatever happens, it sounds incredibly exciting. Well, there you go. I think we can end that episode now and the interview on what we call in the newspaper industry a bona fide exclusive, the return of Bonkers, potentially, but looks pretty promising. Ian, it's been a joy to interview you for today. Thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And I think that everyone's going to love the interview. So thank you. It's great to hear from you, mate.
Thank you, mate. Enjoyed that. It's cool.
Well, that's it for another episode of Raw, and if you like what you've heard, we'd love you to get involved. All of us here at Raw HQ buzz hard off how much you, the Raw crew, enjoy our work, and your generous cash donations have been a huge help since our launch. But we're now a team of 5, putting in combined 80 hours a week for no wages. We've got loads of plans to go further, expand our team and offer, but that does mean that our costs are also increasing. So we could really use your help to keep Raw growing and developing, as you've done since we started. So please do check out our website. Initially, it's rawuk.com for interesting extra content and to get your hands on our first ever range of Raw merchandise. That's rawuk.com. We've also launched a new membership scheme where you can donate to create more interesting and fun content on an ongoing basis, and you'll even get stuff in return. So head to patreon.com/rawukpods. That's patreon.com/rawukpods to see what's on offer. You can also join our YouTube membership, which is the same, or if you're not bothered about membership but you'd like to support us with a few quid as a one-off or repeat donation, head to our website and click the PayPal link. That website URL, one more time, rawuk.com. Respect to you for your support and for getting to the end of this episode. Please keep supporting us and help ensure there's more quality content coming your way on a regular basis. Oi, oi.